What are you gonna do your shit?
Good
day and welcome again to the Relationship and Marriage Hour here on Love Bay Afro Music Radio Show. I am joined today again by this dynamic couple, this power couple. Yes, you are watching this Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio, number one African Caribbean Diaspora online radio show. And we're joined by the Scenevilles again. Listen, they were so good last week. We had to bring them back this week that they could finish what they were talking to us about, that they could take it to the next level. They gave us some nuggets last week that I just feel that they need to go deeper. And before we get into it, welcome, Scenevilles. How are you all today?
We're doing good.
I'm great.
Okay, good. Last time we talked, Brother Sceneville, we talked about things that men need to do in preparation to even ask that question of, will you marry me? And we talked about how they must be mature, how they must start thinking like the provider that they will become, and all of that type stuff, and how they can't focus on the superficial stuff. And I wanted you to go in deeper a little bit on that. And then we're going to go right over to your lovely wife so she could talk about how that role that you must begin to, and for lack of a better word, play. I don't want to use the word play. Reason being that people think is only for a short time, but the role you must begin to operate in. I think that's a better phraseology. The word role you have to begin to operate in to be ready for that question, will you marry me? And how that helps as we move on. So I'm going to sit here today and I'm going to let you all talk. I can try to talk as little bit as I can so you all could just pour out all of that knowledge that you all have. Come on, Brother Trenton.
So the level of maturity you have to have in order to call your other half your own. It's a serious business. You can't go into it jokingly. You have to really think of what is at stake and what you're responsible for. A lot of people think they go in there and they play house, and that's where their expectations get dashed. And so if you take it seriously before you get into it, it will last. So as a male, we have our roles: provider, sustainer, all of those things. Every marriage is still different. How you perform or carry out those roles will be different. Whilst you looking at another couple, you might see how that male does what he does. And the thing is, you can't fully replicate that. You just have to know that there's a goal that has to be met, and you have to reach that goal as a male. You see, so that's my way of doing things.
You said something there that I want you to even elaborate on a little bit more, but I want to give you something that happened to me in my relationship with Tanya. And I know after I finish telling my story, you know where to pick up and go. So when we had Hurricane, I think it was Hurricane Matthew, had come, and it came from the south. And you all know where we live here in the Bahamas. So I didn't say that y'all were from the Bahamas, but anyway, we are from Nassau, Bahamas. And Tanya's family called her and said, Tanya, where y'all live is low land. And even on the news, they're asking for everyone in your area to evacuate, go up the highland. So this is Tanya's mother calling her, asking her, saying to her, Tanya, y'all come up by me because this is better. So Tanya said, okay, let me go talk with the hubby and see what he says. So she comes to me, and I said, Tanya, I look outside and I say, Tanya, I ain't going nowhere. Because you know how we are. This is my house.
Yes.
I ain't going nowhere.
Right.
So a few hours later, the weather changed and the rain starts to come. And now her cousins are calling saying, Tanya, they're saying that y'all need to evacuate. What are you going to do? If Alvin don't want to come, grab those two little children,
Wow.
jump in the car, and y'all come and leave Alvin there if he don't want to come. So my wife comes to me and she says, Alvin, what are we going to do?
Thank you, Lord.
Right.
Jesus, Lord. And I said to her, give me a second. I turned around and I prayed.
Right.
And the voice said to me, it's going to be all right. So I said, Tanya, we ain't going nowhere. They called again.
Yes.
Wow.
And when she came to me with it, I said, Tanya, if you want to go, you could go. But me and my children will stay here. We're not going anywhere. And she says this to me, when my husband go, I will go.
That's a unit.
That put a weight on me right there that I was like, oh my God, this woman has just put her life in my hand.
Yes.
Her life and the life of our two little children. What could that? I gotta be. And that trend, you know what I started to do when I look outside? I saw the water coming up. I took the ladder and I put it next to the manhole.
In case.
Just in case. But the water did not. The water came like about a quarter of an inch. Before we get inside the house. We were stuck in our house, man, for about 5 days, waiting for the water to go down.
Okay.
And I was like, oh my God. Now, Chen, you take it, and that's the maturity I think that you're talking about. That's the weight that we have to carry.
Because just like you said, I know in the back of your mind as a male, and in that situation which you were in, you were thinking, did I make the wrong call?
Yes.
Yes. So with that in itself is a weight that can't even, a pressure, right? That you can't even explain, because let's just say the water did come in the house, and now you're gonna be looked at as someone who was stubborn, who didn't wanna take heed to other people's advices and all this kind of thing. But at the same time, you have to have that capacity to make the tough calls.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, even if you say and you don't care what people say, people will say, where were you? So that as a male, you have to consider all these things. You're the captain of the ship, and you have to be the one who makes the tough calls.
Yes.
And a lot of men break under that pressure. A lot of men run from that pressure because proof is in the eating of the pudding.
Yes.
You have to be able to take the pressure. And it's not that sometimes those calls are not easy to make.
Yes. So true.
It's not the most popular vote, and it is what it is. But I'm happy that your wife supported you.
Yes.
Because that's a lot of pressure for her as well.
Yeah.
Considering that she's trusting you, and that in itself takes a lot of strength.
Yes.
Especially when you're looking out the window and seeing the water rise. That, she could be thinking in the back of her head, I hope this man ain't make a bad call, because now I looking bad too.
Yeah. Because too, even at one point, you know, my mother-in-law, the best mother-in-law in the world, says, well, if you all two want to stay, I coming for my grandchildren. And I looked at Tanya and I said, my children stays with me.
Hey, boy. Yeah, buddy.
So she had that conversation and say, Mom, don't
worry about that.
You stay right where you are. We can be all right.
Yes.
Now, praise the Lord. At the end of it, everybody said, boy, this guy must be really close to God.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because it could have gone a bad way.
Yeah.
It could have gone the
Could have
next
gone a
way.
bad way. But
Mhm.
God is good. He made the right call.
Yeah. So those are the type things that when I heard you were talking just now about the level of maturity and about taking on the responsibility, though that story came to mind as
Mhm.
to life will throw you those curveballs, and you got to be, like you said so brilliantly, you have to be able to make the tough decisions,
Mhm.
and then you have to be able to say, this is what we're going to do, and the buck stops with me.
Amen.
Right.
um like I say, true men move beyond the Adam syndrome. And when I use the Adam syndrome is that you blame somebody else.
Yes. Yes.
Whew.
Yes.
Well, this happened because that one do this or this one do this.
Mhm.
Well,
Right.
look, the buck got to stop
Right.
somewhere.
Yep.
And as the male in a family, it stops with you.
Yes.
Yes.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. And that's a
Wow.
level of maturity in itself.
Yeah.
To take
Mhm. To
responsibility.
take responsibility for the actions that you have chosen.
Hmm.
You
So
see?
that's why it can't be something that we play with, because
Correct.
that's a whole human life you got in your hand.
Mhm.
Not just one.
Um,
You had three.
yeah, yeah. And then let's even push the envelope. I had more than three because eventually we want AJ and Naya to get married and have children.
Right.
Right.
Oh, okay.
That's another generation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
So yeah. So that's why when you make this or go and say, will you marry me? And
Mhm.
you accept, your life is changed forever.
Forever.
And it is not a role that you could jump in today and jump out tomorrow. It is a role for life.
Agreed.
Yeah.
You correct.
Eh, yeah, anything else you want to add? Because I know I was supposed to be talking, but you just want me to speak about that, and I gotta put it there. Go on.
I mean, it is what it is. That's the easiest way you can say it. You're the shot caller,
Uh-huh.
and the buck stops with you. And there will be
Hmm.
times when your strength will be tested.
Yes.
Um, they will question your actions as a father, as a husband,
As a man.
and as a man. Because everyone has their own way of doing things.
Hmm.
And a lot of times they're gonna be like, "Well, I wouldn't have done it that way, and you
Hmm.
should do it that way." So that's just how it is in the world. But you have to be the
Hmm.
one to stand firm on the decisions that you want to make and you're gonna make. And at the same time, it's a communication thing because your wife also has to be on the same page. You know,
Yeah.
she have to, just like how your wife supported you and say, "Well, if my husband doesn't move, we're not moving." So
Hmm.
imagine if she didn't support you. Imagine how that would have went if she said, "Well, Alvin, hey, you could do what you want. We are leaving," and then that could have
Yeah.
been a whole thing right there. you know.
Mhm.
So you have to think as almost like a hive mind. They call it like a hive mind, where,
Hmm.
where everyone knows what they have to do, and everyone knows who's in control of what, and
Oh,
it
that is so powerful, Trent.
come on
Oh
it.
my God, that is powerful. Say that again. You need to say that again. I've never heard that. I've never heard that. You need to say
Yeah,
that one again.
yeah, you have to be like a hive mind. A lot of people look bad on that kind of thing, but um everybody in the family should know their rules and who's in charge and all of that. And that way you make this organism, this unit where everyone is
Wow.
just on the right page. You know,
Yes.
you might be the one to make all the calls, but everyone knows that you're the one to make all the calls. And that way
Yes.
you protect each other. Same way your wife protected your decision. Hey, if
Hmm.
this is if Alvin say this is A, I'm gonna go with A, and the little ones are gonna go with A. Because that's just that hive mentality, that hive mind mentality. Because whatever the boss say is what happens.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's how I try to run it.
Yeah. Excellent. Now we got to bring in your wife now, because then
Mhm.
too.
That was doing so good.
Yeah, because then too, and I want you to pick up from that hive mentality. We can talk about that hive mentality.
Okay.
Is that the average woman in this generation, in our generation, and the generations that came after, they have all been taught to be independent.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
She's one of them.
I'm a reform independent woman.
So what I have found, Deandra, is that many women know enter marriage and they want to be independently dependent.
Yes.
You
Yes.
can't tell me what to do, but I need you to be there when I need you to be there.
Yeah, right.
And to be honest, Tanya and I had to have a conversation one time, and I said, Tanya, being a man is not a turn on and turn off switch.
Mhm.
I can't turn it on when you want it and turn it off when you don't
You
want
don't
it.
want it.
Mhm.
Either I am or I'm not. And now she had to learn then how to deal with, well, am I supposed to be independently dependent?
Dependent.
Help
Mhm.
us, Deandra. Help us.
Well,
You got the
with
tough
me,
one.
and I assume with everyone who got the realization that you can be independent if you're going into a marriage. You
Mhm.
have to be dependent on your partner, right? But what I with me and Trent, how I could like let my guard down and know that the decisions he's going to make is because we've been through some stuff. I see how he made a decision, and it might have failed, but he made it. We went through with it, and we worked out whatever came with it. And then some decisions he made, it was right on target, right on line. So when I started to see him make decisions, I could trust him more. I get comfortable and I understand, okay, if he's making this decision, that means this is going to be beneficial for the hive.
Mhm.
So if you can wrap your head around and
Oh,
know that
Trent. Stop right there. Stop. Trent, you got to teach us how you reformed her, Trent.
trial and error.
Go on, Sister Deandra. Go on.
It
Powerful.
was really a trial and error because
Mhm.
and then two, we communicate. So ain't no big decision. He just be like, "Oh, eyes, man, I'm making this." There's no discussion. Like how Sister Tanya would have said, "I have to go talk to my husband."
Mhm.
I felt that was a good call to make. I wasn't like, "Well, mommy, I come in, and I gonna tell Alvin I leave in." You know, it wasn't that. So she did understand that you're the head,
Mhm.
and she's gonna trust you. So I sure y'all went through some issues where she could have been like, "Oh, that's how he handled that. Oh, he made that decision. Oh, that benefited us." So that's how I think you have to retrain your mind. If you're coming from that independent background, you have to know, okay, this is my man. Okay, we have some decisions to make even before we even say I do, because during dating you have some decisions that you're going to come face to
Yes.
face with.
Mhm.
So even with that, when you approach them, you'll be like, okay, let me see how you handle this. And then some people is be waiting, expecting it to be a downfall,
That's true.
Mhm.
right? They expect, oh, but let me see how you handle this, and then I push a note. Then you want it to fail. You
Yes.
don't want it to work. But if you
Mhm.
go in and be like, okay, let's see how you handle it, and then if you all have that teamwork and a hard mentality, I sure she was able to say, well, Alvin, the water looking a little high, and you would have take her opinion, her feelings, her thoughts, and her concern into consideration. Even though
Yes, I
you
did.
would have made the last decision to still stay, you would
Mhm.
have taken it. Okay, Tanya, I hear what you're saying. I understand how you're feeling, but we're gonna be okay, and we're
Mhm.
gonna stand on that. And then
Mhm.
some people just don't take in the female or the woman aspect. Might be too dramatic, or you can't tell me that nice man, I have the last say. And I might come from a background or how they grew up in that environment, but you have to be able to shift. You have to be able to change, because now two backgrounds coming together. Trend was brought up different, I was brought up different. So we both had to learn each other and make our own little new traditions and
Yes, yes,
ways how
yes.
we do things and handle things. So you have to be able to change that mindset and adjust and shift. That's going to be beneficial for the hive.
Yeah. But just to add something that you said, Pastor, that even though they wanted you to leave your house, and even though you made a decision not to leave, as males, we always have a backup plan. You said something in your story that you started to set up a ladder in the event that your plan didn't make it. So in other words, what I'm saying is that, like my wife said, she still supported your decision. So let's just say water started to come into the house. She knew that you already had a plan B, and she would already start to usher the children into whatever your plan B would have been. You see? So let's just say that your call on the water wouldn't come into the house wasn't what you wanted it to be. Water did come into the house, but she's still gonna go and say, "Hey, our plan B is this." She is never gonna say you was at fault. In other words, because it's a hive. Everyone made this decision, even though you made the call. Everyone made this decision. So that's that kind of unit is what you need to keep families alive.
Yes.
You have to be able to defend one another's decisions, and then at the same time, you have to have the maturity to say, "Hey, wife, what do you think?" Because that's why she's there.
Yes.
Another set of eyes to look from another different perspective.
Yes.
So two heads are always better than one. Like you say, before, when Jesus sent his disciples, he never sent one. He sent two.
2 by 2. Yes.
That way, everyone can look from a different perspective, and you have counsel. You see, so me and the wife always holding counsel. Hey, what you think? But at the end of the day, I have to say, all right, we can go with what you say, or this is what I think we should do, and then we go with what I say. But most of the time,
it's a hybrid. Or it's a hybrid. I like this part of what you said, and I like this part of what I say. Let's bring it together and let's make it work.
Right. So it's not an issue of, see, if it was me, I would have made that decision and I would have been correct. No, this is what we went with and agreed to go with, and we're gonna stick to that. And even if it goes wrong, we're gonna come into council and we're gonna figure out what we're gonna do if worse comes to worse. So you can't be someone who points a finger. See, because you make this decision, you lead us to ruin. You can't be that type of person. You have to be like, all right, let's see how we can get our way out of this, and then we can call it that and get out of it. Because you can't deal with pushing fingers, because that wasting time. So that's how we try to run our show.
Because that wastes time and energy. And it's something too that Deandra said, boy, that I think is just so powerful. Deandra said that there's some things in your relationship that you made some decisions and it did not go the way that you all wanted it to go, or you all thought it was going to go. But she still allowed you to make other decisions. See, because, and this is one thing too that I see even in my counseling of people, is that we only want one thing to happen, Deandra, and we use that to beat you for the rest of your life.
For the whole rest of the marriage or the relationship.
You could make 9 perfect decisions, and not one decision you make wrong. You remember 30 years ago when you said we was going to
exactly.
What's going on? What about those other you only remember one time in 30 years? What is really happening?
What about all the other good times, right?
Yeah. So all of that though comes with a level of maturity, and it's good to be almost to that level before you entertain, will you marry me? And everything I've heard us discuss so far, Deandra, and you can pick up on this and start to talk. Everything I've heard us discuss so far really does away with selfishness.
Yes.
Self-centeredness is not even a part of this discussion anymore.
No.
Talk, Deandra.
You cannot be selfish when you asking someone to come into your space, you can think it's all about you. You have to consider someone's feelings. You have to consider how someone thinks, how someone was even brought up. I didn't even think I had to, take that into consideration. Trent brought up C would be bucking head to probably my brought up C. So a lot of things I had to adjust and give way for. I never considered myself a selfish person,
No.
but
What was that, Trent? Stop it.
I
Not my
say that.
dough.
no, I haven't considered myself a selfish person, but I know it's some things where I just like, and I used to be like, I care how you feel. I care what he think, or whatever the case is, because it's gonna go my way. I want it this way. I didn't think or consider him, and then that is something really just like being independent. Something you have to acknowledge, and then you work on it. Especially if you want to be with that person, it's all about too. If you want it, because if you want it, you can work for it. You can fight for it. You can adjust for it. You could switch for it. And then some people just feel like, oh, I losing myself. I can be DeAndre no more. And I think that if you with the right person and you pray and you ask and you know that this is the connection that you're supposed to be making, you're gonna be better for it. So yeah, you cutting some stuff or some bad habits, even if you was to really sit down and be honest with yourself, some really bad habits. Being selfish is a bad habit that we probably picked up during childhood or other growing up relationships, or even being in a house, your living situation. You probably might have picked it up some bad habits. But when you connect with this person, what God sent to you, because you didn't pray, you didn't fast, you didn't wait on God, now you sure this the connection, then the person would you feel like you're making a sacrifice for or becoming selfless for should be added to you, making you better. So you can't even look at it like that. You have to look at it like, how is this going to help grow me? How is this going to help mature me? Because God ain't gonna send you something to try to take you down, because he didn't been building you up all this time. So why would he send you somebody or put you in a situation to bring you back down to the valley or down to nothing? No, the person who he sent you to connect with supposed to be building you up, supposed to be encouraging you, to keep motivating you, to inspire you, and y'all coming together doing the same thing for the next person. You're supposed to be adding, you're supposed to be subtracting from them. And if it's a subtraction, it's still a subtraction to make the unit, the hive, the relationship, the marriage something better. And if you can't do that in your dating phase, the marriage ain't, you're gonna make it. If you don't come to our realization, you're not going to make it. Because no way you could be selfless with someone you love.
Yes.
You cannot.
Trent, you want to add to that? Oh boy, she's do so much already.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like she says, you don't want to just go ahead and not do what you ain't supposed to do. That's all I could say, So you have to be the one to say, how will this grow us? Okay, so
yes.
Remember now, it's no longer me, and it's no longer you. It's us. So you'll turn around and say, "Oh, I'm losing myself," but you're not really losing yourself. No. You're just losing the parts of yourself that is unnecessary to make the parts of ourselves be better. You see,
powerful.
So listen to me, man. Everyone goes through that mental state, like, am I changing? Am I not becoming? Am I becoming someone who is not who she fell in love with? And I had to come to the realization that she's molding me to be better for we.
Yeah. Ooh.
Put that on the shirt. Put that on the shirt.
Yes. Oh wow, that gotta go on the shirt. Write that down. Wow. Yes.
So
Yes.
that, and I'm pretty sure she went through the same thing.
Yes.
And that's how we run our show here. So
That could go on the marriage ministry shirt. More with me, do better for we. That's our slogan.
Like,
Yeah.
I should trademark that as soon as I can.
Yes, please do.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's,
but two.
go ahead.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. So that's just the main thing. You can't look at it, because if you're looking at it that you're changing yourself and you don't like it, that's where the selfishness comes into place, because you're just thinking of yourself. So you have to get rid of that and just be like, okay, right. So this helping the both of us. And you'll find out that life is so much easier when you could depend on somebody. That's what marriage is, depending on somebody. You know, even if you fall, you know that, all right, this person could hold me until I could catch myself. And then it's a vice versa.
Yes.
Being able to trust and rely on one another, man, you'll be good. You'll be good. It's sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. Marriage is a perfect thing.
Yes, and do you know what I have seen in my short time of being on this earth is that persons, Trent and Deandra, the things they would listen to this conversation now, and some people will be up in arms, saying, "Oh, I can't do that. I can't do that for a person. Oh, I will never do that." No. But that same person sacrificed 4 years of their time to go to college,
yes,
so they could get a career. Then they go work in industry, and the boss says, "I need you to be here on time. I need you here for this. I need you here for that." And you show up, and all you say is, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir." You make all the sacrifices there. Now your husband comes and say, "Honey, I need you to do this." "Oh, you can't tell me what to do." "I'm my own woman." Well, hold it now. And that's where the confusion could come in as for us as husbands and wives, because it's on both sides. What you mean? And another man out there telling you that you need to be to work for 9 o'clock, and you rushing everybody in this house to get up at 6 o'clock to cook bread. Our whole schedule
is around
our daily routine is around somebody else telling you, "This is what I need you to do." So then I ask you to change one little thing, all hell breaks loose. Make that make sense?
That's greed. That's almighty dollar. That's all that is.
So see, you went
that's
right
motivation.
You went right to the place that I wanted you to go. Because as I sat down and I thought about it, all of us are motivated by love.
Yes.
Everything we do is because of a motivation for love. So, but love of what?
Yes.
And Deandra, you said something that if you want this to work, if you know that this is the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with, all that type of stuff, then you do what you have to do. Know why? Because that's where the love will take you.
Yes.
But because I love the mighty dollar, I can listen to the boss.
After the mighty dollar.
And I can change everybody. Your children getting up 5 o'clock in the morning because your boss changed your shift from 9 and tell you got to come in tomorrow at 7. Yes. You're children up at 5 o'clock. And this is people, wives who would tell you, "I need 3 weeks to plan." Their boss call them tonight and say, "Tomorrow I need you in at 7. Everybody gets up at 5. You get everybody ready and everybody at the house at 6 because you got to be to work for 7 at a drop of a hat. Why? Because the love there is because you want that money.
Yes. The love of the almighty dollar.
Yeah. So in essence, then there must be a switch, Deandra, for the independent thinker is don't think about you, think about us.
Yes. That's it.
And then when you think about us, that be your driving force.
Yes, that's what motivates
you. Then work towards that. Talk about it.
I think that if that's your motivation, when you get up in the morning, you know that any decisions made, any move making, any planning, any future thing that's going to benefit everybody. That's going to benefit me. That's going to benefit Trent. And that's how you have to think. Okay, my boss, when we get up at 5, get to work for 7. How is that going to work for Trent's schedule? How is that going to work for the children? They can't be to school until 8 anyway. So I have to tell the boss either I can't make it in, I can probably make it in later, or try to rearrange. Probably I'll have to drive, let Trent sleep in late, and then try and do school. And so then you making adjustments, and you considering how Trent might feel, and also what he have to do, because he also have work. So do we also have to get up at 5 because I need to be there for 7? I have a conversation with him. Hey, boss, changed my schedule. Can you get up early and drop me, or do I drive and then you deal with the children, or you just take yourself to work? So you change your mindset when you involve in someone else. You ask them their opinion, how they feel. Can you just don't assume that, oh, they're gonna do it. They can do it. They can do what I say or suggest. No, you have to say, hey, this is what's happening. This is what I might need from you. Can you do it? Instead of expecting them or assuming they're gonna do it because y'all in a relationship. Communication. Yes, you have to communicate.
Powerful.
You have to. I have to look inside myself too and be like, what if Chan have to tell me I have to get at 5 o'clock? Tell me, not even ask me. Tell me I have to get at 5. I feel some type of way, so I have to assume he might feel some type of way. So I don't want to feel some type of way. So I extend that to him. Like we teach our children, do unto others that you'll have them do unto you. So if I don't want to do it to me, I'm not going to do it to Trent. And then if you living even with that on your mind, then you still think differently. You move differently. You act differently. You carry yourself differently. And that's all to make the union. Well, it ain't a union yet. We still preparing ourselves. So that's when you're going in and you have that now, that's going to trickle over into the marriage and then even make that stronger because now you already practice it before y'all are married. So moving that over into marriage, that's where that power couple comes in. And you see you move, how you move with one another, how you groove, how you pick up. Because I think plenty of people think we just got it going on. I think many people think we acing, we have that A+ on marriage. Yes. But let me tell you, we working every day. We find something new about each other too. Right. Every other day. And we just be like,
and that's what makes it so fun though.
Yes, you're right.
That's what makes it fun. And too, you have to be serious but not serious. Right. And let me tell you what I mean by that. When Tanya and I got married, it's like, boy, we can do it like this. We gotta do it like this. It's like you're just so rigid, just so straight.
Because you think that's what it's supposed to be. You think that's what you think it's supposed to be. Like my
Tanya's my friend. I should be able to crack joke with her. Yes. And like sometimes I would say, baby, let's just go. We got a car now. We're in the States. The average Bahamian are dreaming of being in the state. Yes. We in the state and we got our own car. Yep. Why are we sitting up beside this house? No, let's go ride. Let's go riding. Yes. So we just jump in the car and go riding. Where you want to go? Let's go Walmart. We ain't got to buy nothing. Let's just go walk around. Well, Trent, that doesn't work with women though. Whenever you go you're gonna come out with something. But anyway,
time together, we're together.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about. It's all about you looking at this person and say, I like you in my space.
Yes.
I want you in my space.
That's it.
And I want us to be in each other's space all the time. And and DeAndre, you said something that I'm going to let Trent elaborate on now. You said, I must not just take my feelings into consideration. This is me paraphrasing it now. I must consider how he feels. Because now and I consider how he feels by putting myself in his shoe. What if he
Yes.
does that to me? How would
What
that
I
make me feel? But if
Mhm.
I don't want him to make me feel this way, I'm not going to make him feel that
that
way.
way. Yes.
Trent, with that mindset,
Mhm.
isn't it easier to trust? Isn't it
Yes.
easier? Isn't it then easier to say, boy, I ain't got to think twice about this woman because
Mhm.
I know where her mind is. Talk
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. So it's almost like a breath of fresh air
Uh-huh.
when you have somebody else who knows what you're doing or what you're dealing with, because before you have to say anything, they already halfway there. So that cuts
Mm,
down time, that cuts down reasoning or explanation, and it also allows for her to come with an issue and a solution because she knows what I'm dealing with.
mm-hmm.
So um, let's say case in point, she gets a job to do, and that's usually at 8 o'clock, right? 8 o'clock, right? So she goes and she already knows that, all right, I'm gonna let the troops know 8 o'clock I have to be here, you know, because this is looking at it from a different standpoint. From my standpoint, is okay, 8 o'clock, this is what she needs. She needs this, da 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 da. Let's make sure those things are done. You see? And that's just the hive mind what they talking about. That everyone already knows what to do without having to be told what to do. You see?
Yes.
So I know that this is important for the family.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna go out and get money. Now this isn't the love of money. We're not
Yeah.
being motivated by money. We're
But the
being
love of the
motivated
family.
for the
Yes.
family, because
Yeah.
this will definitely be advantageous for the family. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how we look at it. So this
Mm-hmm.
is what we need to do. If we need this to happen, this is what has to happen. Case in point, she wanted to leave her job. I think she was there for 4 years.
Yeah.
She was working there for 4 years, and she was getting then frustrated being there. And as a male, I looking at it as, well, could you endure it a little longer? Because we like the steady flow of income. Because I work
Mm-hmm.
for myself, and not all the time it's gonna be steady when you're working for
Mm-hmm.
yourself. So her steady income would kind of balance out my unsteady income.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it wasn't worth her mentality staying in the situation that she was in. And at the same time, the game plan that we had for when she leaves this job was kind of limited. We didn't know exactly where she was gonna go or what she was
Yeah.
gonna do. So but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, everyone knew that mommy was gonna be leaving this job, and we have to support mommy.
Yes.
All right. It wasn't gonna be a situation where, oh, see, if you didn't leave the job, we would have still had money to get this. And we had no, we never thought of that at all. The main point was, hey,
Mm-hmm.
your mommy need a better state of mind, and this is what we're going to do, and we're gonna back your mommy no matter what. So
Mm-hmm.
I knew that there had to be a change in expenditure and all that kind of thing until we could figure out how we gonna bring in more funds. And that was a testament in our relationship right there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
she I just saying, but whatever you decide to do, if you leave or if you stay, we
I
have to,
gotcha.
I got you, I got your
Yes.
back. And she had to trust me because she didn't have no other
Yes.
choice. You know, but I had to ensure that, listen, we in a marriage. I mean, whatever, if this is the move we're gonna make, because like I say, it's a conversation. If this is gonna be a move we're gonna make, this is what we're gonna do, and this we're gonna have to do. And it was smooth. It was a good transition. It was a good choice. We are better off now.
Yes.
She
Mm-hmm.
is happier since she started her own thing, and it just meshes. It just running better. So a lot of people get frustrated and caught up in the what could have been, rather than let's move to what we want it to be. You know, and
Yes.
push a blame, just like you say the Adam thing, where we just push a blame. Who was at fault? You here because of you, and then they turn around and say, no, we here because of you, and so on and so forth. But we here. We already know that we in a situation. We're not gonna add what did I say? You don't want to add stress to already stressful situation. You have to
Yes,
just
sir.
say, let's take a step back. Let's assess the situation. This is the council. You mean this is the council me and us how, and okay, how are we gonna get out of this? And if you were to do that before marriage, because we used to do this before marriage, when we going away, but it was the situations was way more smaller than the situations we're dealing with now.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
to be able to just talk
But
to
we
one
had that
another,
we had that foundation during the
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 dating
dating.
stage. Yeah. So we
So
would
we could have carried
always,
that over.
right, we always say, how we gonna get out rather than how did we get in. I gotta put down the shirt too. So
Too many shirts.
This is a shirt shop, guys.
So that's just how we do it. That's how we do it.
Yeah.
I think it would be a better place for everyone because I've seen couples get caught up on where they are versus trying to put the energy on how we could get out. And they get stuck. And that's what causes a lot of failure as well. So that's just how we run things here.
Wait, I just want to add something.
Yeah, go ahead.
When he mentioned with me leaving my job, that's sitting right here. The Lord was just telling me that was history repeating itself because the early part of our marriage, Trent left his job because that was just a toxic situation. And I came home that day and I think I gave him his first phone, his first business line. And I'm like, we're going to do this. We're going to move forward. And we only had one child at the time. So we'd already had that early on in our marriage. So I feel like when I left, we'd already know how to adjust. Even though we had more mouths to feed, it wasn't as scary. It wasn't as, oh Lord, I gotta stuck it out here until I line something up. Sometimes the ducks don't be all in a row. But if you get that partner, at least that's one duck. And y'all can figure out the rest of the duck and the pigeon because it's be all over the place.
Right.
So it's a lot of things you just gotta know that you can do it. And like you say, having two persons to lean on because yes, he's working for himself. I didn't have no income yet. So we did already know that we had to balance how we shop for the children, how we put gas in the car, how to maneuver so we won't be in the valley or broke or leave ourselves without covering bills, leaving ourselves without. And then you gotta not just think about me and him, we gotta think about the other children who didn't really understand what's happening. They know that we can get food, we can get lunch money, we can have light on, we can have water running, we can have stuff. So when we deal with things now, it's more easier. We bouncing off each other now because we done been through some stuff. And we don't hold the stuff we've been through, be like, oh Lord, we back here again. No, we back here. We know we need to do this to get out. Like he said, we come and say we find out how to get out. We don't stay there. We don't try to make up no bed there.
Yeah, makes sense. Boy, this is so powerful. Listen, we are almost out of time. So we have to wrap this up. But boy, I got a sneak feeling that this is your last time. Because y'all got so much wealth. It's just so powerful, so impactful. What you were saying in your decades together, how you are now going to change the next generation of persons and how they look at it. And I want to put it all in a capsule now that we could give them a pill that they could take today. And I want y'all to just help me add to what's all going to be put in this capsule as we bring this one to a close. Will you marry me? What did we do before? How must you be? Before you could even ask that question as a man, or before you could even say yes or no to that question as a female, here are some things you need to make sure are in place. You need to make sure you need to do a self-evaluation and make sure that your maturity level is where it needs to be. That's the first thing. We all on the same page with that.
Yes.
then we have to make sure that you have to do away with selfishness.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Then you need to move from the mindset of me, and it must be a mindset of we.
Yes.
Okay. Listen, this is our t-shirt right here.
Yes,
Yes.
We need to go back and have somebody write down these points.
Yeah, they gotta go to that. Yeah.
Yeah. Then what else? What else did I miss out?
That's pretty okay. Me, we, you have to be able to think for each other.
Yeah, you have
Yes.
to communicate.
Yes.
Communicate.
You have to consider the next person's feelings
Yeah.
and
Okay,
opinions and
consideration.
thoughts. Yes, consideration.
And even though we did not use the word today, the spirit of the word was used in everything we said. You must be able to compromise.
Yes.
Yes.
You must be flexible.
Yes.
You cannot be rigid. And then, trend for the men, you must be the heavy lifter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the buck stops with you.
Yes.
If you are still blaming everybody for everything, then you ain't ready for this.
No.
You ain't ready to take on another human being and to care for her. And then DeAndre, man, you nailed it. And I want to say it this way. And tell me if you all agree with this. And we need to change it, we can change it. My number one job should be trying to make please Tanya, make Tanya happy. And Tanya's number one job should be to make me happy.
Yeah. As long as those two are working together like that. Yes.
Yes.
Number one-sided. Right.
Yes. And if that happens, then we can have a beautiful marriage.
Yes.
And then DeAndre, you also said something that I think is vital too, especially in the Western hemisphere. And I want to use this for the Western, because for the Eastern, we know they still have arranged marriages and all that kind of stuff. People get married who they don't even know, but their way of thinking and living is different. Their brought up is different than here in the West. Because in that culture, you are trained for marriage.
Yeah.
Right.
In our culture, you were trained to be independent. You weren't taking nothing from nobody.
That's true.
Yes.
That's true.
Yes.
That's how we are trained.
Yes.
And we have a saying, and I can see if it's in your family too. We don't take lowness.
Yes.
We ain't into that.
Yes.
Yeah. So you all say that same thing too.
Yep.
Yes.
So that's ingrained in us. I think you talked about it last time, where it's like we don't take last. You remember that game? Yeah, you remember that game you used to play where you have to hit yourself?
Yeah.
But I ain't gonna get hit last.
Right.
All of these things now, we have to retrain our way of thinking so that we can be able to handle what is before us. Anything else we are missing?
Right, that's strong. Go ahead.
Your motivation should be love, one of love, and for family.
Yes, right.
It can be after the money or other people relationship. Your motivation should be love and family, your family.
Yes. And how you say it brings us back to, and we mention him on every show, the great Miles Monroe. He said it this way, and I try to say it at every show, that marriage is perfect, entered in by two imperfect beings. So if these imperfect beings love the marriage, then the marriage will work.
Agreed.
Yes.
Yeah, it'll work. I think it was Bishop T.D. Jakes who said it'll work if you work it.
Yes. That's the truth.
Yeah, and it is so true. It'll work if you work it. We all could point fingers and say you are the cause, but Trent, you really highlight on it. It's not about pointing out the problem. How do we fix it?
Right.
Yes.
It's finding the
And
solution.
that must be, yeah, that must be the mindset. And we have a lot of people who are in marriages waiting really for their partners to fail so they can say, see, I told you, you
I
were the
told you.
problem.
Seeing it
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, you ain't the problem. We are the problem.
We are the
And
problem.
and that goes back to it. If Tanya fails, then we failed.
Yeah.
Correct.
If I failed, then we failed.
Exactly.
We. And that
We.
and that has to be the mindset. Come on, y'all got we got less than 5 minutes. Let's bring it to a close. What's your closing? Listen, I'm not saying that we just started talking a couple seconds ago. What's your closing remarks? Since I started with you, Trent, I'm gonna end with you. Let's see what the madam has to say. Go on. Bring it home.
In closing, I would just like to encourage everybody to just seek God. It ain't no rush, it ain't no timeline. If He promised you it, He is good enough to fulfill it. So you don't got to think like, oh, I'm getting old, I'm getting up in age, I'm missing it. No, if it's for you, it's going to always be for you. Take your time, examine yourself, make sure that you're ready. Because sitting here, God revealed me like when you say your vows, during the ceremony itself, you sickness and health, like you ready for that? That was part, honor and obey. So you just gotta make sure you mature enough to handle these things, because it's gonna come up. It's gonna come up, you're gonna face it, and you just gotta know that the person you're choosing to face it with got your back.
Mm-hmm.
Powerful. Powerful.
Yeah. So what I mean, to switch topics, your vows didn't say on and obey.
Hey,
Pastor, y'all two probably had a conversation about taking that out. But everything cool. We gotta do it all over again. But yeah, that's a big thing we have to look at before we get married, and it's a serious business. And like you say, Pastor, it shouldn't be so serious. You should be able to joke around. It should still be fun.
Yes.
Like keep it fun. But at the same time, no, this is serious business y'all dealing with.
Yeah.
Always defend one another. A lot of people go into marriages and the one decision they don't agree with, they go and tell their friends, man, I don't know why you decide to do it this way. I never decide. I never wanted it to go that way. You have to be able to do just like what your wife said and say, well, we decided we're gonna stay. And if my husband is gonna stay, we will stay. And that mentality, keep it a hive mentality where one person run the show, but at the same time, it's a hive thing. Everyone knows what they have to do. Okay? So that's very important. That's keeping order in the house. You don't want to cancel the spread in the house where someone is some sort of animosity towards the next one, and that causes division and destruction. So everyone needs to keep in order and know their roles. You see, and that's something y'all have to work on and develop in the dating stage. You have to learn to trust, and all those kind of things that build a trust have to happen in a dating stage. That's why we have to be so careful with how we handle people's feelings, because if there's a situation where you break the other person's trust in the dating stage, it's going to be very difficult to go forward as far as marriage.
Yes.
I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I'm going to say it's going to be very difficult. So you have to consider these people's feelings. You have to know yourself, have the maturity to know yourself. You have to be able to take criticism. You have to be able to know that this person is not your enemy, and that, hey, we working together for us to be not you and me. So that's important in itself. And with those gems, if you could hold on to those gems, and like you say, if you want it to work, it will work.
Yes.
But just have to be precaution as far as this is other people. This is someone from a different background, and all these things here, and we have to make it work. It isn't of how we can make it work. We have to make it work.
Yes. And I want to close it with this trend, piggybacking off of you. Not you and me, but we.
But we
That's powerful. And you have been listening to us. Our special guest here today was Trenton and Deandra Sainville. And this program is brought to you by Love Bay Afro Music Talk Show, your number one African Caribbean diaspora online radio show. And what a privilege it was to have them with us as we talked about, will you marry me? Life before that question. See us, join us next week, same place, same time, as we have more topics in this relationship and marriage hour. Blessings and peace.